Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's going to be doing a driving comparison and a summation with our comparison between the Chevy Trailboss, the Ford Tremor, and the Ram Rebel, and we're going to decide who makes the best off-road pickup truck with this driving comparison and a close to our comparison with these three. With that being said, before we get in the video, a huge shout out and thank you to the Ram in Provo, the Ford in Provo, and the Chevy in Provo for giving me some time with all three of these trucks. All three of these are available for sale, so if you're interested, link to their websites in the description down below. Link to my car buying guide as well. Let's get right into it. Well, let's talk about visibility here on the Rebel. Visibility of the hood, both mirrors to blind warning. Through the rest of the rear. And, well, we are going to reverse out in the Rebel here. So, yeah, this new Rebel, it's not too different with the exterior styling's a little bit different. The interior is a little bit different, but, you know, it's not too different from the previous version until you pop the hood. And then you see that there's not a Hemi anymore. There's a twin-turbo inline six. And yeah, it does make a pretty big difference in terms of how this truck drives. And I still haven't had a chance to test the new high output, but you know, that'll eventually happen. Or at least I hope it'll eventually happen. For sure in the RHO, right? But I'm most interested to see how that performs in like the regular, you know, the standard Ram. But first off, you know, having that multi-link suspension setup, it helps out quite a bit over bumps. Like, it really smooths things out. The truck stays nice and composed over all of the bumps and unevenness and all of that stuff. So it's nice. It's definitely nice. Yeah, I'd say overall, I mean, it drives quite well. Still in a parking lot, obviously, but it's not bad. It's not bad at all. It's so weird to have a Ram, and I need to turn this up. It's so weird to have a Ram be so quiet. Because usually, you know, in a Rams, you got that Hemi chugging along. But with this, hey, you've got this quiet, smooth inline six turbo. That's nice. Let's change the gauge cluster view. Yeah, there we go. I like that one the most. But this is such a smooth engine. Let's get our acceleration here at the Rebel. That inline six is crazy. So you get this inline six with the 392 axle ratio, and boy does it's not that instant response that you get from the Hemi, but boy is it quick, and boy does it respond well for a turbo engine. It's fun. It's a fun engine. Doesn't sound as good as the Hemi, but it's fun. So overall, the Rebel, it looks cool and it drives well for a full-size off-road pickup truck. Setting off in the Ford Tremor. So, yeah, of course we get a fuel fuel low warning. We're all good though. Man, it is really, I mean, this isn't like torrential by any means, but it's coming down. So we drove the Rebel first, now we're driving the Tremor second. And I will say the Rebel has a more like planted tank-like feel. This definitely feels, and I've talked about this quite substantially, this feels more car-like. It feels more car-like. Kind of feels a little bit lighter on its feet. I wouldn't say it's any better or worse over bumps. Does fine. Does fine over the bumps. I will say the little like unevenness in the road and everything, the little cracks and all that, you feel it more in the Tremor here than you do in the Rebel. Rebels, I think a big part of that's that multi-link in the back end smooths that out. Could also be the tires too, to an extent. Yeah, here's the weird thing is this on paper has more torque than the Rebel, but I don't know how that new Hurricane produces power. It feels a little bit better than this EcoBoost. EcoBoost isn't bad. I will say, I think the sound that the EcoBoost makes is a little bit nicer, a little bit more pleasing to the ears. And in terms of putting down the power, yeah, it struggles. It struggles, just like the Rebel. It's got tons of horsepower, tons of torque, more than you need. But overall, it drives well. So yeah, out of these two, I kind of lean towards the Rebel. I just like the interior of that more. I think they both look great on the outside. I think the interiors both look great. I just think the Rebel, the seats are actually more comfortable. Usually Ford wins in the seat game, but I think in this case, Ram wins in the seat game. And then the Hurricane, again, I don't know if it's going to be reliable. The EcoBoost, it's, you know, been out for a while, so we know how reliable it is. We know all that kind of stuff, but that Hurricane, we just don't know yet. But yeah, outside of that, I don't know. I kind of lean a little bit more towards that Rebel over there. Let's talk about visibility here in the Silverado before we set off. Pretty good, pretty good. And, well, let's just say that this truck sounds the best. Out of the three, sounds the best. And it feels the most truck-like out of the bunch. The Ford drives very car-like. The Ram, it still drives very truck-like, but with that multi-link suspension in the back, it kind of makes it a little bit more car-like. This is just big, heavy feeling, leaf springs. It's like it's a truck. You're like, and it's got a V8, so that really amplifies that feeling that you're in a pickup truck. Now, suspension comfort over bumps and everything, it's fine. On the road, I feel like it's just as comfortable as the other two. Again, it does feel like a bigger vehicle, and that, you know, bulge there in the center does get in the way of visibility a bit. It's not the worst, but it is there. When it comes to acceleration, well, 6.2 V8. It might not be any quicker than the other two, especially here at high elevation where naturally aspirated engines lose power. But boy, oh boy, does that sound good. Puts just accelerating in a V8, I hear, you know, word on the street is that it puts hair on your chest just instantaneously as soon as you throttle into a V8. And then if you put your foot into the throttle of an electric car, it does the exact opposite. It just instantly, it like waxes it. It's a really weird thing, but you know, I don't make the rules. I just explain them. So to cap things off with this comparison, it's tough. It's tough. Trust me, just like all of you, I hate the fact that everyone's getting rid of their V8s. That's so frustrating. You can get a V8 in that Ford Tremor, which is very appealing. That makes the decision even harder, to be honest. Here's how it goes. I like the drive of the Ram the most. I like the idea of the V8s in this or the Ford. And then I like the interior in that. Like, again, I understand red's not everyone's thing, and I do think the reds, there's a lot of it. But the interior just feels so tight, and it's a nice place to be. Just go sit in the new Ram, and it's like, this is a nice place to be. So I think they did a really good job with that interior and the drive, and the new engine performs so well. It just doesn't sound all that good, and I don't know if it's going to be reliable. But yeah, it's tough, but I think I'd probably go Ram, and then Chevy or Ford? Probably Chevy second, because Ford doesn't have four-wheel drive auto in their truck. That's annoying. But this doesn't have a selectable rear locker. That's also annoying. Yeah, so probably Ram, Chevy, Ford. They're all really close. They're all really close. So let me know which truck you would pick out of the bunch.